There we go.
All right. We're live on Twitch. Twitch.tv/hey, did you see this one? Welcome. So this week we're continuing our month of May theme of Stephen King inspired movies. Though we're no longer in May, but we're going to keep going with these for a couple more weeks. Just one more Stephen King left after this. But this week we are doing a little movie that came out in 2005, I want to say.
I want to say 7. No, 4. No, maybe 5.
It was
2004.
2003. Oh.
2004. Called Secret Window, starring Johnny Depp and John Turturro, and who else is in this movie? Maria Bello. And Timothy Hutton and Charles Dutton. A little Hutton, a little Dutton for you. This movie is a movie that I saw in theaters when I was in high school. And I remembered liking it, but I have not really seen it since. I think I might have seen it at least one other time at some point, but it was a long time ago, and I couldn't really remember all of the finite details of the movie, short of the twist at the end. But this movie is about a writer who is at the tail end of a divorce, which is causing him a great deal of depression, which is apparent in his actions, and that depression is causing him to not sleep very well. And he's in isolation. He's living in a lake house while his wife is living in their home with her new fiance. And he's kind of in complete isolation in a small town, and this isolation is kind of causing him to act a little strange, but all the way out here in the lake house, he's visited by a man claiming to have written one of the stories that he wrote that was published in a magazine years earlier. And this man is very threatening. And all he wants from Johnny Depp is for him to fix the ending of the story.
I have a quick question, Steve.
That's kind of the short breakdown. Yeah.
Should we say massive spoilers?
Yeah, we're going to do spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back and watch this.
Yeah, because this has a real M. Night Shyamalan twist. I just want to give everybody a heads up.
And if you're okay with being spoiled and not having seen it yet, then stay tuned.
Yeah. And also, we are on Twitch, and I just wanted to say, if you're commenting on Twitch, we're probably not going to interact with the Twitch chat like as we go, but at the end we will do a little bit of a take a look at the Twitch chat and see if there's any questions or whatever. So sorry, go ahead, Steve. I just wanted to get some station notices going for you.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, the first time I saw this movie was in high school, and I saw it with a group of friends. We enjoyed our horror movies and our thrillers, so we went to go see them pretty much every week. But, didn't have a massive impact on me as a teenager, but I did, again, like the last couple of movies, there was some imagery and some moments that stuck with me all this time. I do have a friend that when we see each other, enter each other's homes, we will often say, "You stole my story," to each other. I don't know why this movie did it, but we still say it to this day. But yeah. That was my first experience, and I guess we'll pass it to Kaylin. Kaylin, was the first time you saw this movie?
Oh, hello. I'm pretty sure my first introduction to this movie was during my random visits to HMV, and I see our boy Johnny Depp's face staring back at me. I'm like, oh, well, let's see what he's saying. Bought it, went home, watched it. It was enjoyable. It wasn't like I wouldn't call it a horror, I don't think. Was it a psychological thriller, would you say?
Yeah, it's a thriller,
yeah. Thriller,
yeah. But it is enjoyable, entertaining. There's definitely a few little bits and pieces that happen here and there that are like, ooh, and ah. And we'll talk about that as we go. But yeah, this would have been sometime shortly after theater release, whenever it came out on DVD.
Cool. Jason, how about you?
Let's see. My storied past with the movie. I've never seen it. I vaguely even remember this because Johnny Depp, to me, is always one of those like actors who's in event movies throughout the years. But then into the 2000s, he just sort of started doing like whatever. And this kind of probably just came and went.
I think that you're thinking of just the big movies that he's in a lot of whatever movies.
I know.
Do you recall the movie Ben and June?
Oh yeah, right, Ben and June. But that's like before. That's before he did like he started doing event movies, basically.
What event movies are you talking about?
Pirates
of
of
the
the
Caribbean.
That's the only.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
What was the first one you said?
Edward Scissorhands. Basically, Tim Burton.
I would call that an event. That was Tim Burton. That's that's high end indie.
Okay, fair enough. Kaylin, I like your spicy new outlook. Give it to me straight. I need it.
Yes, set this man straight for the record.
Anyway, my point is I associate Johnny Depp with bigger movies personally. This one I kind of remember the trailer for, and I kind of remember coming out, but watching it, I was like, this is a lot like 1408, where it's just a banger actor, like acting against himself basically most of the time. And then tell me, please, nobody's corrected me on this, so I would hate to pronounce it wrong, but it's John Turturro, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. I think so, yeah.
Okay. John Turturro in this movie is also incredible, and this is like a long time ago. This is 20 years ago, so he looks young. Johnny Depp looks young, and it was kind of a mind fuck with everything going on. Now, I don't want to get into.
You're like time.
Time, yuck! But I don't want to get into the trial. I hope we can get through this episode without talking about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
Maybe if you didn't bring it up.
Yeah,
enough,
I wasn't planning on bringing it up.
Good,
except for the part where Johnny Depp's dog steps on a bee.
Yeah, but I just wanted to put that out there too for the listener and the watcher, because we're gonna try. I think we're gonna try and avoid talking about that because it is a can of worms. But it was interesting because we actually Steve picked these movies like at Christmas time, way before this trial. So it was interesting that the
split with the wife in this movie,
exactly,
kind of like
who kind of has a bit of a breakdown, and the ending is very like weirdly reminiscent of some issues that were talked about during the trial. So
yeah,
if you find us not talking about that, it's because it's messed up, and it's not to be really joked about. It's not really for comedy.
Steve, just a heads up, your Insta's frozen.
Is it? It's not frozen for me. What?
Oh, okay.
It's fine. We look great on Instagram or on Twitch. I'll tell you that much.
That's right, folks.
This is the new.
Bigger,
this is the future.
New and improved.
I learned OBS for this shit.
Am I still frozen or?
Yeah, it's fine. Steve Rigas has just joined. He's cool. Steve, we're gonna have you on the show soon. We're just getting our shit figured out. Watch us on Twitch, and you'll be able to see Steve's face in 60 frames per second. Anyway, I digress. At the end of the day, I had not seen this movie, and it was...
The Instagram died, guys.
Oh, it completely died?
I don't think that I should be hosting it.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Steve, and I'm gonna start the Instagram.
Okay.
Synopsis time.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Or should we pause till Insta? Should we banter? Should we banter right now? About
we banter. We banter. We're recording it on Twitch.
What's been your last week like?
My last week, I've been doing a tarot card set for work. I have to draw a bunch of tarot cards.
I was like, you're doing what?
I'm drawing tarot cards for
I thought you
puzzle.
were practicing tarot. Right?
Yeah, that's why I was like, what in the world?
No, I don't believe in magic. I only believe in science.
Unless it's in a young girl's heart, like McDonald's, or it's that song from the original Ghostbusters soundtrack.
If you believe in magic.
That's a good remix.
Or ho ho ho, it's magic. You know.
Ho ho ho,
magic. But yeah, that's what my weeks were like. We're also starting kind of like a top secret project for later in the year, which is cool.
I got my mouth drilled for an hour the other day.
Jesus, Kaylin, stop talking about your sex life on mic.
Hey-o!
Snap!
Sexual mouth talk. Okay, I'm going live. This is going to use up every last bit of bandwidth. My wife is also on a video call upstairs, so we'll see how well this goes.
Sorry, Maddie.
Still look great on Twitch.
I got that direct connect.
Yeah, I actually.
Also, this is what the fans like. These impromptu, genuine moments.
Is that what they like? Because they've given
genuine.
us no feedback. So.
There.
Shot in the Dark Pictures has joined. Hey, Shot in the Dark Pictures, why don't you follow us on Twitch, and maybe we could do a collab.
A collaboration.
Collaborate.
Well, I mean, I lost the other video. I guess I didn't lose it, but it's...
Oh, Kaylin, you're on your Help Me Help You thing. I just want you to know.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, is that okay?
Of course.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, whatever. It's here.
It's here.
Yeah.
Steve.
Hey,
we're back.
It's me, Steve.
We're back. What were
quick
you...
update for Instagram. We're doing Secret Window this week. I lost the recording, so sorry. 15 minutes of our intro is dead.
Yeah, that's cool.
But back to
we can. Well, whatever.
Well, we just went over the first.
I think this is just a sign that what we have already been gradually doing is the right thing to be doing.
The fact that the Twitch has a consistent 3 to 4 people watching, and Instagram has it maxes out at 2 typically.
Well, at a time, we've had, I think, 5 or 6 different people.
All right, let's talk about the movie.
And Red Solandric, get out of the Instagram, go back to your Twitch. You're watching it on the wrong thing. Anyway, thank you for everybody that has stuck with us on the Instagram, because that's how we got here. But yeah, Steve, I believe you were telling us about the synopsis for this film a little bit more in depth.
I believe I was telling you about getting my mouth drilled for an hour.
No, you were talking about that. We were ignoring it.
I was touching my... Damn it, I said the loud part quiet.
In the beginning.
The beginning.
Yeah, the synopsis of the movie. I kind of went over it lightly. Basically, Johnny Depp is isolating himself in his lake house to give his wife space, I guess, in the end.
Also, I'd take that lake house over the mansion any day.
Me too, man.
No,
that's one of the reasons I like this movie so much, is because I just really like the location. Also, they built that entire house on a soundstage as well. And the one that's in the movie. They built 2 versions of it, one in a studio and one on the lake.
Right.
But the movie... Oh my god, I got booted from the Instagram again.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that.
Why?
All right. Anyway, Instagram sucks.
I think this is the last week for Instagram, because it is a matter of the video working for Steve, right? So
Mark Zuckerberg doesn't.
I don't even know what the issue
Twitch,
is, because
Zoom. Does he
I'm using data to make sure the connection is stable, and it's still not working. Anyway, let's go over the movie as a whole. So the movie opens with Johnny Depp kind of talking to himself, and it's like a smash cut right on his face, which is really nice. I like when movies open that way.
Can I pause you for 2 seconds?
What?
Insta can't hear me, I can't hear you rather. So should we just close it?
My Instagram, it doesn't even have my face.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
So what I'm going to say is, hey, Instagram, we're not able to get it up and running this week. So if you're watching right now, go to twitch.tv/hey, did you see this one? And then after the show, I'll make a little video and put it in.
We'll put this video on. Is this our goodbye video? No, we need to have all 3 of us do a goodbye video on Instagram.
If you would listen to me, we'll do something and we'll put it up. So thank you for watching. This is the last live. Hey, did you see this one? Twitch.tv/hey, did you see this one? Bye.
Come join us.
Bye. I'm not even there.
Oh man, someone said see you at Twitch. Nice.
So the movie opens, smash cut to Johnny Face, and he seems frazzled, and Johnny Frazzleface.
I just clued into Johnny Face, and it made me laugh.
What, like Johnny Five or whatever?
No, like it's a funny collection of words. Johnny Face. It's like sounds like a Batman villain or something, like a low-level mobster.
Isn't Johnny Five a thing?
I think so.
Yeah,
Isn't
Johnny Five is the robot from Short Circuit.
Right. Yeah. I can take these dumb other headphones off. Sick. Oh, I can hear so much better now.
We've done it. We've transitioned.
We've shed ourselves.
Can I migrate to a better background? No, that'll probably ruin this.
Well, you can probably
leave this and come back.
You can probably join it on your phone and then just close the computer afterwards. So we'll never lose you.
There will be oh man, how do I mute Kalen because it's gonna do that feedback shit.
Click on his dots and mute his ass.
Okay, I'm muting you. You're muted. You are currently muted. I think. Yeah, he's muted.
Yeah, his little microphone is X'd. Anyway, so the movie starts with Johnny Cutface. Shit. Oh my god. Smash cut to Johnny Depp's face. He's looking upset. He's talking to himself in his head, saying, "Don't go back there. Leave, don't go in there." He steals some keys. He does a very sort of Jack Sparrow-y walk into the office too, through the snow, which I was into. He steals the keys from the motel clerk's desk. It's clearly like late at night because even the hotel clerk is asleep. And he goes to a room, and when he goes inside, he finds two people asleep in the nude. We can only assume that this is his wife, who has been unfaithful to him by cheating on him with some guy named Ted. But Johnny Depp freaks out in a very strange way, like he is just screaming at them, and there's no audio. It's just tense music. And then it cuts to a lake, where we find a lake house. And within, we find what looks to be a writer who is suffering from writer's block, which we later learn is a result of his horrible depression, which is a result of his terrible divorce. You just kind of get little glimpses of him struggling, and if anybody has ever suffered from depression, I wouldn't say this is the most accurate portrayal, but it is definitely a portrayal that I know I've gone through, just eating shit food instead of good food, napping constantly. It can be rough, and like all you really want to do is sleep, like when you're so sad. So I kind of liked it because it wasn't too, oh my god, it wasn't too
it's very distracting. It's just a little bit distracting.
Yeah,
Kaylin,
you're so far away.
Kaylin,
she's so little.
We can't hear you. We're gonna be having to. I hope that we have technical difficulties for every single episode for the.
We should just name the podcast "Technical Difficulties."
That's the name of Hey, Did You See This One's like Wednesday night movie review show. It's technical. It's called "Look Up Kaylin's Fucking Nose."
Yeah.
Oh, we can hear him. Perfect. The podcast is yes.
Hello there. We can hear.
Are we good?
Listen to how much better he sounds, and he
you sound much better. Yeah.
I sound the same as I always sound.
We meant the quality, not the
quality of your recording,
not the words. Yeah.
I still say dumb shit.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Anyways,
we all do.
Feel free to jump in at any time here, because I don't know if we have a ton to talk about with this movie, but
no, it's very short, and
I got so much to talk about.
Okay. Well, I think what I was trying to get at is like the portrayal of depression in this movie is not super over the top. It's kind of realistic, where he doesn't have to talk about how he's depressed. You can just kind of see it in his like constant and like always present bedhead. How he wears, a house coat that has a giant hole in it, and he never really gets dressed unless he needs to leave the house. He's wearing that house coat for like 90% of the movie, which I think you learn later in a flashback that it might have been his wife's house coat that he's adopted as his own, or
there's a scene where she's leaving for work, and he comes out and he's ranting about how he's joking with her, and he's like, "You can leave you don't have to leave $100 on the nightstand. I'm free." my pimp's trying to, I'm free, and he's wearing that night.
There's also a scene where she's finds the window for the first time, and she's wearing it in that. So I guess she's just wearing his house coat, which is a cute detail. There's lots of little fun, small details in this movie that I'm like, interesting, very interesting. So like, there's, throughout the movie, after John Turturro shows up, he says like, the first thing he says is, "You stole my story," and then Johnny Depp kind of is like, "I did not steal your story. I've never stolen a story in my life." But you find out later that he has at least one other time in his career stolen somebody's work, plagiarized it for his own. But he swears it's never happened before or after. It was just the one time. So John Turturro, he shows up periodically throughout the movie, and every time he does, shortly afterwards, something horrific happens. So Johnny Depp has a very old dog named Chico. My partner actually told me what breed of dog that is. It's like an Australian.
It's a very
something or other.
It's a very, very cute dog, and
it is. Yeah.
The implications, man. Anyway, let's wait. Let's not get right into what happens in this.
Well, I like Chico because Johnny Depp seems to actually, he has like one of those relationships with the dog where that seems realistic to me. Like you talk to the dog, but the dog doesn't get you, but you still talk to him anyway. It's like a nice little sort of like reflecting pond for him, I guess, to be able to talk to the doggy. And I like when he calls him a blind bastard. It's like, whatever, you blind bastard. He does his Hunter S. Thompson voice in that moment. But yeah, John Turturro shows up and says, you have 3 days to provide me with evidence that you wait, no, that's the second time he shows up. The first time he just says like, "I'll be back, read my script," or whatever. He leaves like the transcript of the story on his porch. Then you are introduced to his housekeeper, which I think she is meant to be the character that really shows you how he used to be through her eyes, and the dialogue that she presents to us. It's like she's seeing and has seen this man kind of like crumble both physically and emotionally as a result of like the breakup with his wife.
I want things to say about her. I don't want to forget. I'm going to make a note instead of bringing it up.
No, you can bring it up. It's fine if you have something to say. Just say it now.
Well, the thing is it's gonna get spoilery if I talk about what I want to say here.
Okay. Well, we don't need to go through the entire plot point by point. So I mean, we might as well just get into it.
Do you want to just get into it? There's a major spoiler. It's an M. Night Shyamalan twist. It's telegraphed a little bit, but I was tricked because
that's one of the good things about this movie, Jason, is like if you watch it again, you will pick up on things that you didn't notice the first time, and it makes it more interesting, and it makes it a little bit more fun as well.
That's what I wanted to bring up about her. I believe that she may not have been real. And also, if she was real, she was telegraphing that whole scene was telegraphing the last 15 minutes, right down to like he looks over the ledge and sees her vacuuming, and then goes back to what he's doing, and he makes a face that's like, well, that was weird. Even though the reality is that she is cleaning his house. He's a well-to-do author, But the thing that really got me is after John Turturro comes to the door. Gives the like screenplay to him, or like the rough draft. It's like, "You stole my story." He throws it in the garbage, and then he goes to the table, and it's on the table. And that's when I was like, "Oh, this John Turturro is supernatural." But it's so much more than that, and it's grounded in reality. It's so much more than that, but also so much less, I guess you could say, because it's grounded. It's grounded in reality, and it's more of a split personality movie than it is like scary. And I remember you messaging us on the group chat, and you were like, this movie is as wacky as I remember, and also it's scary, but like in a different way. And this movie isn't overtly scary at any time. There's no gore, there's barely any blood.
I didn't say scary, I said spooky.
There's a little.
They're different.
Spooky. Yeah. It's spooky, but
also she says that she took it out of the garbage. She says, "I found one of your stories in the garbage."
But he sees it on the table, and then she comes in like this and says, "I found your story in the garbage."
Yeah. First you think it's supernatural. First you think it's supernatural, but then she comes in with the to base it in reality as to how that happened. I really like that little.
And then I was like, I see I knew then that it was going to have something to do with maybe mental illness, but I thought it was just going to be his sort of depression, his descent into depression. I didn't know it was going to turn into what it ends up turning into, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because he's clearly disheveled. He's depressed because his wife left him.
You know who's really disheveled is Ted at the end.
He's disheveled. He's de-necked.
Thank you. Continue. Sorry, I just had to make that dumb joke.
Nope, that was pretty much...
I never really considered that she might not be real. But it's not outside of the realm of possibilities because John Turturro is revealed to not be real at the end of the movie, and he is clearly seeing people that aren't real.
So why don't you just let the cat out of the bag?
Right. So throughout the movie, John Turturro shows up, and his threats become more and more real throughout. His dog is murdered. His and his wife's home is burned down. And eventually the private detective, I think, is what his job is. I'm not really sure what.
Yeah, he was a PI because, well, I mean, he was doing PI stuff, but there's a very specific scene where he goes to him, and he's kind of like almost like a lawyer. He wants the whole story.
Yeah, it's like he's like a weird lawyer with a gun, you know?
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
Like, I operate outside the law.
Private detective.
But he's like, remember last time you had a crazy fan and we actually had to go to the police? This might just be another one of those. And Johnny Depp's like, or Morty Winter?
Mordecai.
Mort Rainey.
Mordecai Rainey. What a great name. Basically... Basically, like, maybe we should go to the real police, and he's like, no, this is a job for a PI. Also, I need you. He's also his like personal protection.
Yeah, it's like he's a bodyguard / security guard / private detective / like
some sort of legal intermediary.
Yeah, like a weird sort of like almost like a repo guy.
Yeah,
like he'll just go in and like bully you. It's I kind of like that. It's ambiguous, like you don't really know what he is, and they don't kind of like present it to you clearly. It's like it's just some guy that he's hiring to help him figure this out, kind of thing. Yeah. And that once again is also the moment where you realize that Johnny Depp has been in a position where he plagiarized work before. It's revealed again through the character of Ken. Ken is his name. Yes, so you know. He hires Ken to try and figure out who this guy is, and so Ken is, you know, kind of going and interviewing different people within the city or town, I guess, to try and figure out who John Turturro is. John Shooter, and he eventually ends up being murdered himself, along with a guy named John Greenleaf, I think. He's like one of the town elders or whatever. Yeah. And so Johnny Depp has to get rid of the bodies because John Shooter basically links him to those crimes. But you later learn that Johnny Depp is in fact both John Shooter and Mort Rainey, and he puts the hat on and fully becomes John Shooter so that he can fix the end of the story, which is in the end of the story, Secret Window, the husband does not kill the wife, and in reality, you know, when he went to the hotel, he had a gun and he was going to kill both his wife and her lover, Ted, but instead he chooses not to. And I guess they didn't choose to press any kind of charges because that's considered assault with a deadly weapon, I think. But he ends up chasing his wife down, stabbing her in the leg with a screwdriver or scissors. I think it was scissors. And then
I thought it was the screwdriver.
It might have been the screwdriver, yeah.
He chased her with scissors, and I was listening to the commentary, and the director, he said his kind of thought behind it was rock, paper, scissors. So at the beginning, you have the rock on the story, the papers, and then he stabs her with scissors.
Okay, interesting.
That's not how that game works.
Yeah, you don't just bludgeon somebody with a rock and then stab them with scissors when they
have paper in their mouths like an alien when he's like shoving the magazine.
Well, if you were made of rock, then the scissors wouldn't be able to stab you. Now, could they?
That's true.
That's true.
Rock beats scissors every day of the week.
And you know what? Thank God, because I am made of scissors. Ooh, someone's got a police officer after them. Is it me?
So that means you can kick
it is me.
A person made out of paper's ass any day.
I
If you're
believe
made
it.
of scissors.
But if you're made of rocks, you're out of luck. You're gonna get wrapped up.
No, you're out of luck.
You're out. This
Oh,
whole
shit.
courtroom is out of order. Oh wait, wrong. movie.
Man.
Few Goodman.
I
Few
haven't even ordered
Goodman.
yet.
That would
Order
be a
the
funny.
fuck.
Okay, sorry. A Few Goodman. That was a dumb joke. There was no time for it. Let's move on.
So anyway, he kills his wife, and then, or he's about to kill his wife, and then Ted shows up, and he kills Ted with a shovel. And then he buries them both in the garden that is being overlooked by the secret window, where he grows corn, and his whole demeanor changes. His hair is nice and combed. He's got new glasses. He's
He gets
got braces on.
Hi there.
Hello.
There's like a B character in this movie who's like miring him at the post office.
The dog steps on him.
And he goes to the post office at one point to get a package. And this was one of the things that, like, it's sort of already slowly been revealed that he's just doing all this, and he just has a figment of his imagination show up right before something horrible happens. So he keeps thinking that the John Turturro figment is doing it. But there was one scene where I was like, oh, I should have known immediately. He goes to the post office, gets the package. The package is fine. I think they show the whole thing. He gets home, and he's like, it's open. And he's like, how could that have happened? And he pulls the magazine out. So there's a subplot. I'll explain the subplot after. But the pages are missing. The subplot is that...
you figured it out at the end of the movie, eh?
I figured it out at the end of the movie.
And he looks in the mirror and goes, "It's me, John Shooter, all along."
John Shooter. But there's a subplot. There's kind of a MacGuffin through the movie where John Shooter keeps being like, "If you can." Okay, let me start at the beginning. Mort,
in the beginning,
Mort says, "I can prove that I wrote this story. It was published 2 years before you're alleged. Shooter says 97. It was published 2 years before that. I have the magazine to prove it. There's one copy in my wife's house, or my house. House gets burnt down. The other copy, the private PI tracks down, has it mailed. He goes to pick it up at the post office, but a boom, page is missing. Whoa, what's going on here?" And then, of course, it's revealed shortly after that when he has like an emotional breakdown by looking in the mirror. And they do this cool effect where he's looking in the mirror, but he's facing the other way.
There's some pretty cool camera work in this movie. The beginning and the end.
Another really good one was at the beginning where he like wakes up from like a dream, but he's like teetering over a cliff on his couch. It was a really cool shot. I think to go back further to my actual previous point was the girl at the post office is Myron. She's like, yo, that he is smoking hot. Yeah. And Johnny Depp's like, whatever. And then Johnny Depp comes in at the end of the movie like nothing happened, but the town knows what he did basically. And he goes and he's like, hello, what would you like to get a drink sometime? She's like, fuck that, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And that was a really good way to show how like the town kind of liked him a lot, and then he did not hide the fact that a bunch of people kept going to his cabin and disappearing. And the sheriff even says at the very end, like, we don't have enough evidence, we can't pin it to you, but like we're gonna tie those bodies to you somehow. And then we get that great shot of it pans past him to the window and out into his corn garden. And Kaylin, I wanted to ask you, I made a joke on Monday night when we were doing our other show. And
no, I would never eat corn on the cob with braces.
Okay, fair enough. That's good. That's actually another question I wanted to bring up to you guys.
I was watching this with Danny, and I was like, you can't do that. This truly is a horror movie.
But you said, I just kept saying, the secret garden. But you actually educated me on what the name of this book is.
You want me to say it?
Yes.
Secret Window, Secret Garden.
And if you know that, it almost ruins the movie.
Yeah.
If you've read the story...
Not ruins, but it definitely kind of helps connect it sooner.
More of a beacon, yeah. It definitely kind of broadcasts a little bit more.
And I audibly went, as it went out the window at the end, I went, secret window, secret garden.
The wife says that, and when she's like, it's a secret window. A secret window looking over a
Looking over
secret garden.
Yes.
Can I
true.
complain a little
But I
bit
didn't know
about the
then.
technicalities of that window from the inside shot versus the outside shot?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay.
The
That's what we're
window
here
is
for.
too close to the edge of the wall or whatever from the outside versus when you're looking at it from the inside, all the space that there is to the right of it when you're on the inside, to the left of it when you're on the outside.
Also a waist height window, which is like what?
Is
Also, not
That's
a real
probably
window.
an air thing, though.
It's a digital window as well. I never noticed it until this watch through. I'm like, what's up with this frame? And I realized it's CGI.
There was probably just a
That makes
square
sense.
green screen there.
Yeah.
That they.
There is,
Yeah.
yeah. So one thing I want, like, so first with this movie, and then like with so it starts by we come in through the window, we overlook this writer's desk, laptop. He's working on some shit. It then goes and looks at the mirror, right? It looks at him through the mirror and then goes through the mirror to him.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going into his psyche or whatever, right? So everything from this point, and so Jason, when you mentioned about her maybe being part of his imagination, that could be something for sure, because everything after that point is all in his head until the end of the movie when we come out of the mirror again, and then we see her arrive and then shit happen.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do want to say though, just a technical little me being a little so-and-so.
It's called
When
nitpicking.
that first shot, when we go through the mirror, he should be the other way. Like the image it's proper when we get through it and we're on him, but it should be the reverse way if we're looking at a mirror looking at him.
It didn't turn the right way or something.
Well, the setup of his cottage. So when we come in, that opening shot, we come in through the window. We're in that up loft area, and then we go over the banister. The stairs are to our right, and they're going down, right? So when we look at the mirror, the stairs should be going left, but they're going right. That's just a nitpick.
Where has this Kaylin been for 50 episodes of this show?
All you guys talk. You never let me talk.
Well,
Jeez.
Well.
Put the knife down, Kaylin.
I learned a lesson today, and that's let Kaylin talk. We should just have a segment where we just let Kaylin say whatever, or just let Kaylin
that's probably
host.
a terrible segment. That sounds like the worst segment I've ever heard.
Yeah, no, but I mean, nitpicking aside, I think it's also a really cool shot. It's
the psyche thing, exactly.
The long tracking shot, and I didn't even really consider the fact that does happen again at the end. I was also just more impressed with the camera work, but I didn't even really connect that they do that twice, and when they leave it is when he is fully become John Shooter.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a cool
awesome.
Bit of information that I overlooked.
I have
Can I bring one more point?
Yep.
So just in regards to the element of the last few movies that we've done. So this movie, the Thing or whatever, right, is a broken psyche or whatever, right? Like Jason, you were saying earlier, split personality or whatever. 1401, maybe the devil or something, haunted room or whatever, to say the least. What was that? Dreamcatchers. So that was Aliens, and then Needful Things was the devil again.
The actual Satan. And I thought for a minute that this movie was going to be a combination between Needful Things and 1408, because I thought John Turturro was real for most of the movie, and I thought he was I thought he was paranormal, making all these things happen, almost like he was an omen or a beacon to evil.
Right.
And then I thought it was going to be a lot of Johnny Depp self-acting in his cabin, trying to go nuts figuring out how all of this crazy shit was going, because every time John Turturro shows up, something horrible happens, and John Turturro something horrible will happen, and then he'll make threats. So it's and then the best line in the movie, I think, is when he's like, if it's proven that I am lying, well, somebody that would make up a lie like this is liable to do anything or something along those lines. And I was like,
he says that if somebody can make up this stuff, then they it's not worth them being alive. Basically, it's like they have no right to be alive.
And he kind of keeps threatening more, like, if you want to get into it with me in a fighting way, it's going to be to the death. And that is kind of like, I should have seen it.
And they do set up, even though he's not real, they do set up that he's like mega strong. Like he lifts Johnny Depp fully off the ground with a shovel, like to his throat, kind of thing, right? It's like, holy shit. I like this is, I think, probably my third time watching this movie over the course of my life, but I was keeping an eye open for things because I'm like, I know that they're probably showing us more than I realized the first time I saw it. So. Are you asking a question, or are you
I call them the crack.
Are you gonna list some of the clues? Are you gonna list some?
I'm just gonna list.
I have some clues after your list.
I'm not gonna list anything. I'm just gonna, I think the one for me that was the most like whoa was when he has the interaction with John Turturro for like the third time, I think, and he can't sleep. It's the first time that something bad happens where he seemingly doesn't go to sleep. He's trying to sleep in his bed, which is like the only time you actually see him sleeping in a bed, and he's sleeping and he has the fire poker right next to his bed, obviously for protection, but he then goes and burns down his house. And I'm like, oh, this is like telegraphing what he's about to do. The fire poker, obviously related to fire, and he burns the house down. And yeah, there's a couple of those sprinkled throughout, but yeah, that one's one that I was like, okay, there's more clues in here than I'm writing down.
Kalen's pulling out a whole ass list right now.
Did you notice, Chico? So, I think I saw this happen. Did you notice Chico look at Shooter when Mort said, Chico, inside?
No.
I'm pretty sure Chico looked at Shooter. I didn't. That was on my third watch, and I didn't want to go back and watch it again.
Well, I hate to break it to you, Kalen, but Chico's blind.
No, but he still has ears, right? Yep. So he would go in the direction of where he's hearing the command from, right? Mm-hmm. And I think Chico motioned towards Shooter when Mort says Chico inside, like when they first meet each other. Also, and one of the other like little kind of like little clues or whatever, when he's walking through the trail, and then the camera's behind him, behind Mort. And then it pans to the side, and we see Shooter kind of come out of his head, sort of.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
His shoulder in the back.
See what happens when you watch that director's commentary. You get like all this information. I need to watch. I have it on Blu-ray as well. So
the shoulder one, or the behind the trail cam one, that was definitely from the commentary. The Chico one, that was me. I'm pretty sure I saw that happen.
Me and Chico, we your pinky swear.
I did really like the sort of bait and switch of the old weird Greenleaf guy clearly being nuts, and the PI's like, I went to talk to him, and first he said he saw you talking to somebody, and then he said he didn't see anybody, and then later the guy was like, I didn't want it to think it was weird that you weren't talking to anybody, and showed a flash of just Johnny Depp just like blah 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 talking to nobody. I thought that was a really good little. I just like things like that where they show a long scene with great acting, and then you get a flash of what was really happening. Do you guys remember the Ryan? This is one of my favorite things about this movie, actually. The Ryan Reynolds movie. Remember the one where he plays the serial killer, and
the college one?
No. He kills people. And then they become like pets, or you can hear pets talking.
Oh.
What the fuck?
No.
I forget what it's called.
So anyway, spoilers for that movie.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Pet Erection. Nope.
It's Pet Erection.
Just 1 second here. So anyway, in this movie, he's a serial killer, and then it's sort of like throughout the movie, it's not. You're not sure, right? It's called The Voices. With his talking pets, he does serial kills, but everything looks really bright and cheery. It's a really bright movie until the police Go into his house towards the end. Spoilers for the movie The Voices. It's very good. Go watch it. Spoilers. But the police go into his house and it's a fucking nightmare. Like, there's bodies stacked. Everything's got blood. There's there's viscera everywhere. There's the pets are dead. There's fucking it's a
old
mess.
Unreliable narrator, eh?
Exactly. And the unreliable narrator here, it's not as intense, but when we finally see at the end of the movie, when the wife shows up, the ex-wife, she walks in and everything's just destroyed. And there's carvings in the table. Even before she gets to the curtain, there's carvings in the table. There's a bottle of liquor gone. There's cigarette packs. He keeps saying through the whole movie, "I don't smoke," which he clearly does. We see him smoke
Yeah, this is
several
kind
times.
of like the reveal of his true nature, which is that he's boozing and smoking like crazy.
Yeah, and it really reminded me of the movie The Voices in that you see a step back from what we've seen the whole movie. And that's something I was kind of hoping for in 1408, where it just cuts to him just losing his mind in the room. It's not really that kind of movie though, so I'm glad we only saw one real scene, and that's him punching the fridge.
Yeah, when he's like, "Give me my drink," he's strangling tiny Sam Jackson. I like I had never considered the fact that the housekeeper might not be real, and now that my brain has been brought to that place, I'm thinking about every time he smokes, he's hiding it from her, but it's his house. He can smoke all he fucking wants in his house. Why is he trying to hide it from this lady? And it's maybe he's trying to hide it from himself. He's just I'm not smoking.
Behind her back, he's just rolling his eyes and clearly he's why this woman's so annoying. But why keep her on the payroll if you hate her? Get a house cleaner that's going to mind their own business. We don't get any backstory for her. The reality could be that she's some sort of family friend, or he's just had her for 20 years.
Right. Yeah. No,
but it seems like he hates this woman. And she seems like a figment of his imagination because of the way that he interacts with her through that
he
first
immediately starts to
bit.
Messy the place up again when she leaves. She vacuums up all his Dorito crumbs and puts his pillows nicely on the couch, and he's like, "My pillows."
In that one scene, he's slamming. He wakes up and starts slamming Doritos. Basically,
This movie definitely Pepsi sponsored. There's so many bags of Doritos and Cheetos, and then there's also Mountain Dew, and it's not.
Who drinks Mountain Dew?
I mean, if I have to drink soda, I only drink Dr. Pepper or Mountain Dew.
Really?
What about ginger ale? Ginger ale, I think.
I don't really drink soda. Period.
Let us know in the chat
water.
what kind of pop you like, but I typically drink kind of sody pop.
Did you guys notice him wipe the lip of the can before he drank it?
No,
I did, yeah.
But I do that.
I do that all the time.
I do that before I open a can. I wipe the mouth. But I only drink bubbly, and if I have to drink pop, I'll drink Coke Zero. But if I'm going to drink a sugar pop, as I like to call them, sugar soda, it's going to be like a Doritos or something fancy. But I am a
pop?
Doritos, not Doritos, Doritos. It's like a Mexican pop. But the thing I am a sucker for is when I go into Shoppers or a Rexall or the grocery store, and they have some pop I've never seen, pink Baja Blast and shit. That's when I'll drink a Mountain Dew. But I used to, when I was a teenager and when I was in my early 20s, my man, Mountain Dew was so good that I'd slam it and then I'd get a real bad tummy ache that felt like my stomach was going to explode.
Psychotic.
I'd have to burp 1,000 times. Yeah.
Jolt Cola was the cola, and it had a little meter of how many cups of coffee worth of caffeine is in it. Yeah,
before drugs and alcohol, me and my friends would go to the little boutiques, you remember?
That's how me and Durak finished Final Fantasy VII. We went and bought a bunch of Jolt Cola and just played a ton of it.
Remember that little boutique
high on pop
candy store, Kaylin, on Quinpool, when we were kids?
The Candy Bowl.
Yeah. Me and my friend Jake would go there before drugs and alcohol came into our lives when we were 15, 16. And we would just be how many are we allowed to buy? And they'd be as many as you want, but like don't drink more than 3 of these. Because we only have 6 because we imported it from fucking Europe. This is back before energy drinks too. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember before
the 80s. No, the 90s.
The late 90s is when like energy drinks came out. You know? But
sorry, I just wanted to get some water.
That's cool.
Get it.
Steve only drinks water and beer, so
it's true.
And wine sometimes.
I haven't drank wine in a while, but I do have it sometimes, yeah.
You've got that taste asphyxiation, hangover aversion to wine, probably.
Yeah, wine is one of those things that, like, I do like it when I'm drinking it, but the next day I'm like, I feel like I'm on crack. I'm like all shaky and like, too much sugar in my body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like a lot of wine has a ton of preservatives in it, which is like the reason you get so hungover. If you drink like really pure wine, you actually don't get as much of a sugary hate hangover than you do if you buy like a super expensive.
Just like beer with no preservatives, apparently. Anyway. Speaking of drugs and alcohol, this character reminded me of if Johnny Depp played a Hunter S. Thompson, but didn't play it like Hunter S. Thompson, and instead played it like the most normal person I think I've ever seen him play a character. Like this was the most normal dude to the point he changed his voice and just sounded like a regular person. Like, hello, my name is Mort River or whatever. What was it?
Yeah,
Rainer,
I mean, it's kind of nice
Rainey?
sometimes because of how character he is in most movies, or like his most prestigious or predominant movies, the ones that everybody knows. He's always like caked in makeup or has a crazy ass hair, or like there's something to him. Where it's kind of nice every once in a while to watch a Johnny Depp movie where it's just Johnny Depp being a good actor.
That's Nick of Time.
Nick of Time?
Yeah, go watch that movie.
Also,
I have like a bunch of Johnny Depp's discography. I don't have Crybaby yet. That one's kind of weird.
Also, the Rum Diaries, but he is technically Hunter S. Thompson in the Rum Diaries, but he doesn't.
I would describe Rum Diaries as like a prequel to Fear and Loathing.
It literally is. It literally is. It's like a couple books before Fear and Loathing is based off a series. Yeah, it's instead of it being based off a series of short writings.
Him and Johnny Depp were good friends.
Yep.
Like this.
Yeah.
Do you think that Johnny Depp and Jack Sparrow were friends in real life before Jack Sparrow's untimely death?
Yeah, this is like basically like the retelling of behind the scenes of Pirates of the Caribbean. Johnny Depp looks in the mirror and he sees Jack Sparrow's back. Like,
he's writing the secret window is actually the first draft of Pirates of the Caribbean somehow.
Yeah.
And John Turturro is Disney.
Yeah. He's like, Disney knocks on the door and they're like,
starts killing everybody. Starts murdering people. Yeah.
Killing dogs with screwdrivers. Let's get back to the plot. So after his housekeeper leaves, she's clearly concerned for him. She tells him, just know that some people don't understand what they have.
It's pronounced pseudonym, right? Pseudonym?
Yeah.
I like how I found that to be like a real life thing where it's like pseudonym or nim or whatever when she's trying to say the thing.
Right. I thought you used a pseudonym. Yeah.
I had a pseudonym in the early days of the internet, and it was Robert No Love.
Bobbert Loudmouth?
No! That's me now!
Bobbert Loudmouth! Attorney at law.
Attorney at law. Just put attorney at law after everything and it makes it funnier.
Blah, blah, blah.
Rob blah blah's law blog. Attorney at law.
Yeah, she basically, says to him that, it's basically she's saying, like, your wife doesn't realize how great of a person you are, and it really sucks, and just know that other people care about you. Because she can see him basically, like, slowly killing himself, right? And he does not seem to appreciate it at all. He's like, yeah, whatever.
He still wants the missus, though. There's, like, a few, like, little... they have that interaction on the phone where she's like, I'm not with Ted. And it's like, oh... And it's like, I'm not with him right now or whatever. Also, there's when we see him, he's in the car, like, watching them. but where the angle is from the side view mirror, and then it focuses on objects in the mirror closer than they appear. I was thinking that she's still close to him. That's how I interpreted that. Like he still holds her close, like still has feelings for her.
Yeah.
I think that he very obviously loves her, and
he is obsessing over her. Yeah, he's literally losing his mind. I do like the moment where he's talking to her and he starts to like strangle the phone and like rather than just yell into it, he's like shaking it around. I'm like, yep, I've most definitely done that before in my life. I saw a lot of parallels with me and this character, which was kind of unnerving. I was like, oh no, I do a lot of this stuff. Like the end part where
do you shake your hands after you watch them?
I do. I literally do that every single
time. I think
time.
I might have got that from this movie, actually.
Go like this. I do it all the time.
I do like a.
I also the jaw thing. I do that every morning when I wake up.
Yeah.
I was watching this with Danny, and I was like, oh my god, I do that. And Danny was like, yep, you do that every day. I'm like, oh no.
I'll be back in 2 seconds.
I'm John Shooter.
Also, Steve, I'm getting a note here from a person who's like a sound engineer by side hustle and by trade. He's very good at it. It seems as though your sound is having a weird echo problem. So what I'm going to do is mid-show, I've got another headset that I'm going to pop on that's connected to another computer, and I'm just going to do a quick on the fly sound test with you just to make sure that we're okay.
All right, I'm gonna. Is it me or is it you?
Oh yeah. You have like a. It sounds like you're doubled up.
I'm a demon voice.
Do you want me to switch back to my headphones on my phone? Because I'm just kind of talking raw on the phone.
Oh yeah, Kaylin's is kind of doubled up too. So I wonder if it's related.
1 second.
Oh, Kaylin sounded better for a sec. Steve, say words.
Hello, my name is Steve, Demon Voice Man.
Nope.
Yep, it's still doubling.
What about now?
Steve,
yeah, you sound fine now, Kaylin.
Kaylin sounds better.
Guys?
Do I still sound like an alien?
Hello? Check.
Yeah, Kaylin sounds a bit better. Steve, say words.
Hello, it's me.
Sounds a little bit better. I wonder if it's my mix here.
I think it might be you, because if it's me and Kaylin and not you. Also, it wasn't doing this earlier in the show.
Yeah.
It might be that it's looping the sound from Zoom onto the recording, or onto like whatever it is, OBS or whatever. It might be that you just need to mute one of the two.
Oh, there are a lot of. Okay, so there's audio. Okay, here. Say words.
Welcome back to Technical Difficulties, the show where we can't get through a whole episode without some shit happening that makes.
I figured.
I think you figured it out, ladies and gentlemen.
I figured it out. Jacob, you'd be so proud of me. I did it on the fly and I figured it out. I had to mute one of the.
I'm proud of you. Why can't we be proud of you?
Shits.
Wait, did you just have to mute one of them, like I said? So I figured it out.
No, I figured it out. I figured it out. Jacob, let us know. And also, you should be watching this on. You know what? The fact you're watching fucking is amazing. I love all of you.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Isn't there only thing to watch it on right now?
No, sorry. He has to be watching it on Twitch. So he's probably gonna leave. He's probably gonna leave now that I've referenced him. So, excellent. Well, we have I'm glad that we have, like, I have to engineer and be on the show. I'm glad that we have another engineer. Yes, he said I nailed it. I'm glad that we have a secondary engineer, huge fan of the show, Jacob from Halifax, one of my best friends of all time. Turn the other guys up 11. Turn the other guys up 11%. That I would say is 11%.
These speakers go to 11.
Kaylin, you can probably go back to the better audio without the headphones.
Oh, this one's no good?
No, it sounds like
No,
it sounds like you're on a phone.
What about now?
Yeah, but
Yeah, much
way
better.
Yay!
So she leaves. He goes back to Naptown. He takes a nap. His wife calls. He does some funky stuff. That shot where he leans over the couch and there is a bunch of water beneath him. Actually, used recycled material from the movie Jurassic Park: The Lost World. Interesting fact. Yeah, apparently the director just called Steven Spielberg and was like, "Do you have any extra footage of those rocks? Because I don't want to spend $1 million filming rocks."
Did you guys? Another thing about the filming of this movie that's really interesting. I kept seeing shots that looked really familiar, and I was like, "Was this filmed in like?" There's like places I've gone camping just slightly outside
This
of
was
Toronto.
filmed in Quebec.
In Quebec. Thanks,
Yeah.
Steve.
Nice.
Thank you for walking all over that. I was just gonna do a little.
Oh, I thought you were asking. You
No!
said, "Did you guys notice?" And I was like, "Yeah, I noticed." And then I looked it up.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You're right.
Also, they shouted out Quebec in the credits.
Yeah, they filmed a bunch in like the wilderness of Quebec, which is massive. But the motel, I believe, at the beginning was in Montreal.
Cool.
Did you guys notice that they did a lot of weird color correcting? That was kind of cool. Like because they show that motel again later when the private detective was there, and it's like quite colorful. Like everything
really?
is pretty vibrant in color. But
Nice.
when he's in there, everything is like black and white except for red. Like all the color is basically desaturated to almost black and white except for them and the red lamp shades and like the red door frames and stuff. It's just cool visual storytelling.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually.
One of the other clues that I kind of, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was, he has the black winter toque, Mort, and then Shooter has like the black pilgrim hat or whatever.
Both black hats. You know, if
Yeah.
this was a Western, they'd both be bad guys.
It's true.
But yeah, I like when they do that kind of stuff in movies. I think I was talking to you guys a little bit earlier about something like this when, you know, in like a movie when like a teenager is having some angsty moment and they're walking through the hallways of a school and every single person is looking at them. How like in reality that would never happen. Like nobody would be walking through school and every single person would be like staring dead at them. It's just sort of like the internalization of that character's feelings. They feel like everybody is looking at them. The only way for you to convey that in a movie is to literally have every single person staring at them. That's kind of how I felt about the black and white at the beginning. I'm like, you know, when you're like so upset that you're like hyper focused and fixated on one small detail. He literally is only seeing the red of the world around him and everything else is kind of faded into this gray, and it's just like showing his like fixation on the exact purpose of that scene, which is like his wife is cheating on him and that's all he's thinking about and how angry he is. I just really enjoy that kind of stuff.
To open the movie with that scene too was really really interesting to like get the full picture as the movie progresses and just showing like flashes of it like throughout the movie.
Yeah, it's almost comedic the way it flashes sometimes, but it is like super provocative and like it
editing
grabs
was
you right
dope.
from the beginning.
Yeah, I had
The way
no.
they have the hood mount or whatever on the car and then transition to like stationary as he reverses back or whatever.
I had no idea what was going on when the movie opened up. I couldn't like. There was too like. The sequence has too many things happening to really be able to wrap your head around what could be happening outside of. I guess I thought that he was busting into somebody's hotel room for some reason, and that's as far as I got with it. I guess your head will go to some sort of domestic situation, but that's not even where my head went because it happened so fast, and then it's just like 1 month later or 1 year later or 6 months later.
6 months.
6 months.
6 months later, it just flash cuts to that, and then you're immediately introduced to this other version of him who couldn't possibly do anything like that, right? Maybe he was in an old school fit of rage, and you also see the cracks of like the domestic issues when he finally talks to his wife, and she keeps being like, "Yeah, the way you used to be, or the way that you are with the drinking and like your." she never outright says you're like explosive like anger, but you sort of get the impression that he's got some anger issue, and then you start linking it back, and it's almost like a red hair. That opening scene almost plays like a red herring for what's about to happen in the back half of the movie. I thought.
Yeah, and it's also like it is the source, right? Like that one moment is basically the source to all of his pain, right? It is heavily implied by the wife that what is her character's name?
Amy?
Abby.
Amy.
Or no, Amy.
She, implies that like he's been emotionally distant for years, and like even when they're together, he's just not really there. Like he's just kind of living in his own head. And that can be kind of devastating in a relationship, right? If somebody is absent even when they're physically present, it's almost worse than them not being there at all.
Once again, like this is probably a like a slice of life from Stephen King's existence. He's probably had relationships that were very similar to this. Like this is the first movie I didn't read anything about it, and also it kind of blows my mind that this is a book and not a short story.
It's a novella, so it's
a novella. Okay,
yeah.
But he's got like filmmakers have gotten so much more out of short stories than they were able to turn this novella into, because my biggest problem I think with the movie is that it's like a series of like on your first watch, it's one of those ones you got to watch over again. Absolutely, that I'm learning that talking. I finished it. I was like, ugh, I don't know. Talking about it, I feel better about it.
It's also limited to its rating a little bit too.
Yeah, it's what is it, PG-13?
Yeah.
Like, there's like one F-bomb, if that. But it seems like a series of things happen that are kind of like you're just watching a fucking drama, and then a big twist happens at the end of the second act, and the whole third act is fucking chef's kiss. Good acting, good reveals, just thing after like there's not a dull moment. Where the movies we watched up to this were just like and the John Carpenter movies too, which I've brought up a lot of times, it's like a series of things are happening, but everything is more interesting than last. And this, it's like they tell a whole story, and then there's a twist and a turn, and everything takes a turn, and then there's just a series of reveals. But you don't.
I'm pretty sure it was an hour and a half too, which is your favorite.
It's
right?
my favorite. It was 65 or it was 95 minutes, and I saw that today, and I was like, I'm going to be able to digest this movie without taking notes. I didn't take any notes for this beyond my actual thoughts, like my actual like I want to write down this thing, but I always remember those. But I didn't have to, like with long fucking 2-hour plus movies or hour 45 plus, I have to like write the scenes down as they come, because then I'll just forget what happened in those like slower moments.
Yeah, a movie like this though, it's kind of difficult to keep track of all the moments until after a certain point, because like, John Turturro shows up 3-4 times before the car is full of dead people. And like before that, you're like, is that the first time he shows up or the second time? I can't really remember, but it doesn't really matter, because every time he shows up, the exact same thing happens, where he's like basically giving him a countdown, being like, you got a day to bring me that book. You got 48 hours. I'll see you in 4 hours. Like it's just like a countdown to when he's going to show up again.
And I want my hat back.
Yeah, I want my hat back at your earliest convenience.
Back one way or another. I'm getting
one way or another.
Yeah. And like, if there is like a great sense of tension building, right? Because all of his friends are now gone, and the sheriff is sniffing around.
So much tension,
and like
even some tension that they don't even come back to. The glass of water on the edge of the counter. I'm like, oh shit, what's gonna happen?
And it's still like the movie ends and Kalen's pulling his hair out. He's like, the glass of water though.
He gets his watch stuck on the gear shift of the truck.
That was the tensest moment in the movie, in my opinion.
They still don't bust him at the end.
But I think that they focused on that because of the fact at that point in the movie, right before that, Turturro or Johnny Shooter had been like, I'll burn your whole life down. Do you know how much of your DNA basically I've put on these murders? Like, yeah. And then his watch gets stuck in the thing as he's pushing the truck over. And it's weird because I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I'm watching that, I rewound this part a couple times because I feel like I might have missed something in their little back and forth, because Johnny Depp passes out and wakes up, and John Turturro is like, "You've been out for 3 hours, and you got to deal with these dead people." And then that's when he's like, you can't go, if you talk to the sheriff, I'll burn everybody that you love down. And then he's like, oh fuck. And then John Turturro leaves, Johnny Shooter leaves. And then he immediately gets in the car and starts poking around at the dead guys. And then the next scene is him pushing the truck. So that might be part of his psyche from his, like, I've killed these people to reality bleeding across. Because
I mean, at the end of the movie, you realize that he's the one that killed those people, so he needs to hide the evidence anyway. But in that moment, I think John Turturro is inferring, like, if you don't take care of these bodies right now, I'm going to go tell the sheriff that you killed them, and that's your screwdriver in that old man's head. Yeah. They're going to think it was busted. You.
And I think it was a red herring that the watch went over and they focused on it, because I think that was a little bit of a misdirect.
I think you that would the watch being hooked there is more meant to be like, oh my God, he's going to go over with the car. But I also, when watching it, I'm like, well, now his watch is in there. They're going to catch him. And
I agree with you. That, like, surface level, that is what's happening in that scene. It's a thriller movie, so that it's a tense moment where you think somebody's about to get fucking click-clacked by getting pulled over a cliff by a moving vehicle. But the reason why we do this, and the reason why people analyze movies, is to go below the surface level. And I think we all reached the same conclusion that, like, the filmmakers might have wanted you to be misdirected and show, there could be a cut where they don't even show the watch part. They just kind of show them like
unreliable.
Hooked. Yeah. Unreliable narrator is one of my favorite tropes, Kalen. I'm so glad that you brought that up for this. Speaking of tropes, before I forget, sorry, the name drop was at 12 minutes and 21 seconds.
I got 12:19, but okay.
I'm relying on you guys to do that now. I've given up on keeping. I do pay attention for it, but I don't write down the time.
I went, oh, and wrote it down.
Ooh, it's the movie I'm watching. She said the movie.
Well, it's a Family Guy joke, I think, is where it comes from. He said the thing.
Yeah. It's like watching Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah. Wait.
Like, ugh.
There's no way
they say that in there.
There's no way. That movie's about, like, a horrible murder,
I remember seeing that movie. I was watching with my friend Matt, and I turned over to him and, like, that's the name of the movie. We're, like, in theaters. I do like that, and you may be right. It might be a red herring, but it definitely it gives you that feeling of, like, oh, now there's more to worry about. And then, there is the moment where the sheriff is approaching the vehicle and being like, you got a minute to talk? And that is all there to ramp the tension as well. And you're thinking, like, does he know? Did they find the car already? Did they have his watch? Like, all that stuff. And you never know. And at the end of the movie, the sheriff says, like, we know what you did to those folks. And as soon as we find the bodies, you're going down. That, to me, implies that they also have not found the bodies of the other two.
Of any of them.
Yeah.
And I had it. Well, it was one of those cracks, dude. When he says... when he's wigging out, he's just pushed the truck over. He goes into town to get the package, and the sheriff comes up to him after Johnny Shooter's been like, do not talk to the sheriff specifically, and the sheriff leans his head in and he's like, hey, do you have a few minutes to talk? And he's like, I don't have any minutes to talk. But then it cuts back to the sheriff, and the sheriff, like, backs up and goes, I was like,
yeah,
why did they show that?
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I'm like, this guy's not the character that we care about.
They've been playing the sheriff up to that point. The whole movie was being this, like, bubbling.
He's like a country bumpkin or whatever.
He's like an aloof, incompetent, hey, look at my needle and thread.
He doesn't even know what crimes are crimes.
Yeah, I don't even think killing a dog is a crime.
He's like, killing a dog isn't like killing a man. I don't even know if it's a crime, actually. It's like, what the fuck? How is it not a crime?
The PI says
someone's dog.
The PI says that too. He's like, that's I guess animal cruelty, but, like, I don't think you go to jail for that. Which
it's unfortunate, but also
is dark as fuck. But, like, I'm gonna do.
There are people that remember, like, there's, like, old ladies that poison neighborhood dogs and shit because they poop on their lawn or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's like, those people aren't going to jail. They're getting like a hefty fine, but they're never going to jail for it, which is like, maybe there should be like a mandatory minimum for murdering someone's beloved pet.
You should do 1 year in maximum security prison if you murder a dog.
1 year? That
1
seems
year.
That seems like a lot to me. I feel
No,
like they would
in
learn their lesson
in
after,
fucking like
1 month.
in Oz, like in maximum security prison.
They might get killed.
I can speak from experience. That's a lot.
I believe it. That's what I'm saying. It's not a lot in the grand scheme. It's not 25 years in a maximum security prison, but compared to white collar criminals who do money crimes and spend 10 years in a fucking minimum security resort, compared to if you're a normal person who fucking kills an animal out of cold blood, 1 year in maximum security is gonna.
It might be too much. That might be too much. Like, that's
Overkill?
a lot.
I agree with you, Caitlin. That is far too much for like killing a raccoon or some shit. You know, like
No, raccoons are different. If you're from Toronto, fuck raccoons.
they are annoying, but they're cute.
Did you guys think the female lawyer was trying to, like, be like, like, so when she's like, when he calls her Mrs. Whatever, is like, oh, that's still on there, and then they kind of like, it kind of feels like they flirt a little bit.
It definitely feels like
the ex kind of like takes off her thing and shows off her shoulders a little bit, and then he's like, "Oh, hello again."
Fuck, how do
like trying to like get his attention again, and then
how do I?
Or at least that's how I interpreted it.
Look at Johnny Depp's face. This regular dude in this town is not only a successful author, but has the face of Johnny Depp.
This is a big city New York lawyer.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's
but
what
I think
Caitlin's referring to. And yes, I do think she was flirting with him, and also taking his side in the argument, which wasn't really an argument, but it seemed like she was leaning to his.
When Ted was rubbernecking, have you guys ever heard the term rubbernecking before?
Yes, absolutely, I have.
You have heard that shit?
Yeah.
It's like when there's a car crash.
When there's a car crash and people are rubbernecking.
Rubbernecking. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't like it.
That's not a term that I like. I
didn't know that, and I don't like it. No, but yeah. I was just gonna say before we move on, you could do a cut of this movie where the women in the background are probably Myron, old
Morty.
Then they hear his name and they're like, "Ooh."
There's
Morty.
one part that I'm like, okay, so he goes to go meet Ken in Greenleaf, and he goes into the little diner / grocery store or whatever it is. And she's like, was there someone there looking for me earlier? And she says no, but clearly he had already gone and killed those guys, right? Like at that point. So it's like, were they all there?
How'd they meet?
Yeah, did they meet outside? That's like one inconsistency that I'm like, what?
Ooh.
Yeah.
He met him before going in somehow.
I bet you there was
I can think of.
I bet you they filmed a part where she's like, yeah, they were here.
Yeah, you were here with them, and you guys left in that truck.
Like,
but it cuts.
They probably could not find a way to make that work without it.
Yeah.
It cuts to that truck, and it felt like the way that I perceived it was like it doesn't matter. They're riding together, so it's proven that they were together. So
yeah,
it can be explained away in like they could have met outside. They could have.
Maybe that scene is in his imagination.
That
doesn't actually go in and do that. He's just imagining Mort doing that.
True. There's a lot of him waking up and sleeping, and like the whole thing could be.
There's a lot of Fight Club.
Well, exactly, Kaylin, and that's what I wanted to talk about too. The fact that there's many scenes in this movie that start with him waking up. So who knows what's happening, like in between him falling asleep and waking up. Because clearly he murdered his dog overnight, you know. Clearly he murdered the PI in Greenleaf or at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, there's so many weird time inconsistencies for me that like I have to stop thinking about it, because like he finds his dog dead, right? And then it cuts to him burying the dog, and it's like sunrise, like the sun is rising, and I'm like, did it take him all night to fucking dig that hole? Or did he wait
he's got
until
some
sunrise?
tough soil,
and
like
then...
really like rocky stuff.
Because then later he says that he found the dog at 9 p.m. So I'm like, did he literally dig a hole for like 8 hours? Like, or did he go to sleep and then what? if your dog is dead, you're burying it immediately. You're not gonna leave him with a screwdriver in his skull.
Immediately?
Outside.
I don't think I could bury it immediately. I mean,
I don't mean immediately, but I don't mean like go to bed. I wouldn't be able to sleep if my dog had been murdered.
No, but this dude is a Ted Bundy level fucking serial murderer.
Yeah, and also it's like, again, the time inconsistencies. It's like anything that he says is unreliable, right? Like you don't know what's truth, what's not. What he believes is not necessarily what actually happened, and like.
And from our point of view, it goes between a calculated, cold murderer who's doing all of the horrible, terrible shit, and also drinking and smoking and just being awful, and cutting to him waking up and being like good and just and confused and has writer's block, you know? I want to see more of this story. Like, I would like to see a retelling of this universe, like that's a prequel TV show that is a slower burn, you know?
The reality of it all.
And we get to see a bit, like, I want the Better Call Saul to this movie, where he's him like got book hits and misses. Yeah, I don't know if I would particularly enjoy that show, but maybe.
What if they did a series where they do half from Mort's perspective and then half from Shooter's perspective?
I would have loved if all those flashbacks where he's like, yeah, I know, but just pull him over here. Like, I would love him to be like, yeah, y'all now pull your car over here so I could talk to y'all for a minute. Like, I want that in the flashbacks. But yeah, I think that like most of the movies we've done so far feel like they could easily have been adapted into like a 6-episode miniseries or something. Like Needful Things would be a perfect show. Dreamcatcher even could make a pretty decent show. 1408 I think is pretty good as a movie. I don't think you need to stretch that out any further than it was. And I'll say the same thing for this one. It's I think there are times in this movie where I feel like the length is perfect, because any more I would have been like, all right, get what's going on here. I don't need this is too much. And if it was shorter, I would have been like, what? I need more information. But I think it gives you exactly what you need, right? Like, it sets everything up, pays stuff off. It's confusing in the right ways and intriguing in other ways.
Do you guys ever sharpen your corn pinchers, or whatever those things are called?
No, I think he was doing that just to be like threatening to the sheriff. I'll stab you to death with these tiny pins. I believed him. I thought we were going to see some eye stabs. Yeah. Like a ninja, like an assassin. An assassin. Yeah.
I heard of I'm not sure if they were a ninja or something, but I heard of someone fucking someone up with a straw, like being like really quick and like fucking up. I
remember seeing like a documentary in some sort of crazy prison where like there was these guys who were talking about literally anything can be a weapon. He's like, I can kill someone with a newspaper if I had to. And I was like, wow. Yeah. But how? Explain. I don't understand.
I mean, newspaper sounds pretty tough, but I mean, get some nasty paper cuts, like a lot of them.
Yeah, death by 1,000 paper cuts. The Mist, yeah, we are doing the Mist next week. Dex. Let's take a second here because our pal Dex Dutton, Kalen, meet Dex. He came into our stream on Friday night and palled around with us. He's basically there. This is a good time. He's basically asking how we like pick the way we do our movies, and June. Right. May was...
Is this a viewer? Are we having a viewer interaction right
now?
Yeah,
his name is Dex. We literally just told you that. What the heck are you doing?
So for May, it was Steve's birthday. He picked the movies he wanted to do with Stephen King. It was called Stevens or Stephen's Kings, and basically
Stephen's Kings was Kalen's call, and it's pretty name. I like it much better than mine.
But what happened is one of us, I won't say who, it was me. I got COVID-19 from going to jury duty, and we had to take a hiatus. So we're gonna bleed into what was supposed to be June Henson. So we're probably only gonna end up doing 2 June Henson month movies, just to get things back on track. But that's basically how we're doing it. And when first time caller. But basically,
I think his question was, how do we do it?
Yeah, we basically just pick a theme and then we fill the month with movies that fit the theme. Yeah. So my month was Stephen King adaptations. we are doing The Mist. We're doing that next week. That's my last movie of the King run. But yeah, it's my favorite Stephen King movie, I think. I haven't watched it in a few years, but I do think it is the best. It's like the highest budget B movie ever made. Like it's an old 1950s monster movie, basically.
I'll try to add a thing to our Twitch at the bottom to say what the next movie is. I do have like a countdown.
Do we want to give it away, or do we want it to be a surprise? I mean, we already know now, but I mean, in general.
Well, we're kind of moving, like when we were doing Instagram only, it was kind of good to keep it a bit of a surprise with the pictures. Maybe we can keep the surprise on Instagram like that, but
ooh, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
You want people on Twitch to come to your shit. You know what I mean?
That sounds like good.
So
to elaborate on your answer though, so this month, May was or Steve's birthday was in May, so he got to pick all of May, and he went with a Stephen King theme. The month before was Jason's birthday was in that month, so he got to pick everything and went with a Trey Parker, Matt Stone theme. Prior months, we've done...
Halen, are you going to go all the way back? Come on now. They can go back and watch the Instagram episodes.
They're not on Twitch, though.
That's true, you're right.
They will be, though, because now that now that we're affiliate and we can upload to Twitch, slowly but surely, I got a Wix account, which is a website maker. I'm going to make us a fucking website, boyos, and I wasn't going to reveal that, but since we're talking about it, we're going to have a website. It's going to have a domain, and it's going to probably cost us like $50 a year, and I'm going to ask you guys for some money. But
again?
Yeah. Hey,
I don't have money.
Look at the Zoom account. Look at this. We're using Zoom.
We paid you for it. I paid you money. All right.
I know, $67. It was awesome.
There was 3 6s in that payment.
That's true.
Oh no,
Hail Satan! But the thing is I put in the extra time to make sure we don't have the Zoom logo.
Yeah, we know. We love you. We thank you every day for it. Gee whiz, you want a freaking trophy?
Dex is calling me.
We'll go to the dollar store and buy one of those trophies.
Okay.
Anyway, we're getting
off track. Thank
completely.
You. Also, I just want to say one more thing while Dex is here. If we're not ignoring you if we don't talk to you in the chat, but this show is more of a we do the thing, and then we might talk to the chat at the end, just so you know.
Yes.
We're not ignoring you. I'll comment in the chat.
But all viewers chat amongst each other.
I just saw someone bring up The Mist in the chat, and I was like, "Ooh, that's my favorite movie."
Yeah, that's next week. Come back.
I wanted to address.
Watch the movie in advance, and Dex.
I don't know if this is true, but
Dex
when
and
I think of
Retzel Andrick are.
Guys, you're both talking at the same time.
Very excited.
Are we?
I have to be father mode.
Okay.
Shh, one of you shush. The other one talk.
Go ahead, buddy.
I don't know what The Mist is, but when I hear it and think of it, I think of that Simpsons special where their skin turns inside out.
Oh, gross! Yeah, that mist that turns everybody inside out. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I had purged that gross visual from my head, and now you've welcomed it back into my brain. Taylor.
That episode, that Treehouse of Horrors, is many, many, many years before The Mist came out. It might be before the book.
Okay, my mind's about to be blown later this weekend / next week.
I'm not going to spoil what The Mist is if you haven't seen The Mist. It's like the one movie we're doing that I have seen.
Maybe I'll watch the trailer first before we do trailer day. And if I think that it's too spoilery, I'm going to advise that we don't watch it.
Put the kibosh.
Yeah, because I feel like that one could potentially be so good if you have no idea what you're getting into.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations. I would say it's probably one of the best, in my opinion. But I also know people who absolutely hate it. So
yeah, so do I. And also, like the It remakes exist, which are pretty fucking good.
Those were good. I like them.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings, but I don't think they're bad movies. I just
This isn't.
The Mist holds a special spot in my heart.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear all the. Oh, actually, so you said something in chat where you want to say something, but you don't want to ruin our thing.
Oh, all I wanted to say was that Johnny Depp in this movie looks a lot like Mark Sevier does today. Like, I'm like, oh, it's Mark Sevier. Imagine this movie starring Mark Sevier. Instead of writing a novel, he's just doing like audio loops on that little loft area.
So I'm going to pretend to be one of those viewers that doesn't know what you're talking about. Who's Mark
Sevier is like a musician, but he does primarily like music looping. So he'll like shake a and then he'll loop it and be like, and then he'll come up with impromptu musical pieces. It's mostly comedic, but he is a comedic person. So
like Reggie Watts.
Yeah, him and Reggie Watts have done
Mark
a couple
Ribley.
Collaboration. Oh, did I say the wrong name? Did I say Mark Sevier? Oh, yeah.
Mark Ribley.
Yeah, that's who I meant.
It's spelled like Riblet. Yeah, Dex knows.
Yeah.
Dex, one day you're going to be on this show, buddy. Remember?
Mark Riblet.
Riblets.
Isn't
that dude is from
Ribier?
He's
you know what we should
TikTok.
do? We should do an episode with Sean Evans and eat some spicy wings.
Yeah, okay, let's just get on.
Movies.
Let's just get on.
Okay, I'll give him a call.
I'll just call up
personal cell phone
First
number.
We Feast. I'll say hello. First We Feast. This is the hit podcast with 4 viewers.
You know how we entice them? We'd be like, "Yo, do you want to increase your viewers? Put us on."
You get 4 more than normal.
Oh man.
It's gonna be Retzel Andrick, and it's gonna be Dex Dirty, and it's gonna be one of my phones.
Oh God.
All right, bring us back, Steve. Bring us back. What's up?
I do appreciate you guys watching. I do
Thanks,
appreciate.
Dex. Thanks, viewers.
I do appreciate that we have some viewers. It's amazing.
It is great.
Amazing. We got 2 random subs today too, which is fucking crazy. Just random people were like, "Yeah, I'll sub to that rerun that's on right now."
Was it my rerun of me talking about Obi-Wan?
I ran 7 hours.
Love that.
I ran 7 hours of reruns today, and I showed our 2 trailer shows, and then I showed all of the video games you did last night.
Oof, I was a little bit tipsy.
Yeah, but if there's nothing, I listened to most of it while I was just like playing
I'm a
games.
pretty PG guy for the most part. I don't say anything risque, especially if I know that I'm on a microphone.
It's 3:00 in the morning, me and you, where it gets like we got to take that down.
True. Anyway, the movie Secret Window. Kaylin, do you have anything else in your notes? I didn't really take notes for this. I did, but then I looked through them. I'm like, this is nothing. I don't need to read these notes.
I have like 3 more things.
Okay, go for it.
All right, I got a question for you guys. When he's talking to his buddy, the private detective or whatever, the sleuth or whatever, they have a little chess timer, and during their conversation, it's not touched. But then, from what I remember, when Buddy is like, "Okay, I'm going to take on your thing," he hits the timer, right? So it starts his. It's like, "Okay, now you owe me money based on this time."
That's why I thought he was a lawyer.
And then he makes like a off. What's the expression? An inappropriate remark about the missus or whatever, and then so Mort stops the timer.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you can tell that they're kind of like buddies.
This is just me being, well, 1, nitpick, and then 2, like, oh, maybe there's something more to it. But
it's also just a very interesting way to present a conversation.
Kalen hasn't gotten to his points yet.
No, he just said it was nitpicky, so I was just commenting on it. It was.
No, yeah. You guys are both good. But we're all talking. This is what the viewers want.
Yeah. What are you? She's jumping down my throat over here.
The fact that they were doing that was interesting, but
yeah.
When they hit the button, either it's continuity error or it's intentional. And if it's intentional, like it's the psychological thriller aspect of the movie doing it, the fact that we can't trust this person or whatever. But okay, I watched it, right? Then I watched it with commentary. Then I watched it today just to watch it to refresh. And so there's just little things sometimes you notice after. So like, again, like I like to do a fresh watch where I just watch it to enjoy it.
Right.
And then
I'm sorry. I'm confused about what's the nitpick. I'm confused about what your point is.
So he hits. Let's say he hits the right side.
Yes.
And then when we show the other guy hit it back into timing again, he hits the same button. We're looking at it from the other perspective, but
this guy's got a magnifying glass at his TV. He's like, hold on a second.
Kalen, I want more of this, dude. I want more of continuity errors.
What, you guys don't ever try to make stupid, silly videos or whatever and want it to make sense?
I'm gonna start calling you Shooter.
Dude, I'm bad at like coming up with sketch comedy, and you like if you guys haven't been to ADD Comedy on Instagram, Kalen actually does little like sketches, and they're good. You know, so I understand that you. I know what you mean.
Very
like
interesting editing thing to keep in mind. Oh, yeah. Actually, on that point, so that same meeting when they're talking about shit, and they're doing the back and forth perspective of looking at, I apologize, I forget his name, but the private detective guy, and then back to Mort, and there's that lamp in the way, and then he moves it. That shit was hilarious.
Also good. Yeah, like, so for me, the chess timer thing, I really like it. I think it's a cool, fun way for two characters to have a conversation that's already pretty tense. The bulk of the topic is tense, but to add that element in there, like, it's just good. Like, it's very good. I like when someone they're like, okay, we need to film this conversation. How do we make the conversation more interesting? We'll have some sort
maybe
of
we should bring on a chess timer for our pod.
Yeah, so that we don't interrupt each other.
Exactly.
Just like hit the chess timer. Yeah, and then I also like that as he leaves, he hits the button again when he's leaving, right? Like, he just like jams it. But at the same time, if he's charging him for every minute that he's there, later he's like, "I'm paying you $500 a day. Why aren't you doing your job?" I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
So the timer was literally just there to be like a fun visual, I guess. But yeah, moving the lamp, when that happens, I was happy as well. It's like they could have just showed Johnny Depp lean in and be upset, but instead they did this whole sort of like elaborate.
Can't see you.
Yeah, exactly. Again, the camera work in this movie, there's tons and tons of fun stuff. Those long shots at the beginning are great. The trickery with the car at the beginning is also really cool because like they must have had a rig. They must have done some sort of digital edit or something that like.
That's exactly what it was. As stated on the commentary, that's exactly what it was. They had, and then they digitally transitioned or whatever into that next shot.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if you know, Kalen, but when I was a young man in my early 20s.
When I was just a young.
Yeah.
Wait. How's the song go?
Okay.
Unimportant. I worked on a bunch of film projects and I did a ton of editing and stuff. So like the fact you're noticing all these little things is like, yeah, it can be really annoying in the editing room when you realize something like that. Like they hit the wrong button on set. It's not like they can just go back and refilm that. You know, it's like somebody just hit the wrong button, didn't catch it when they were recording, and then in edit they're like, well, we have to hope that nobody notices.
It's like last week in 1408 where he had that rum bottle, and every time you saw the rum bottle, it had like a different amount of rum in it. But the thing is,
the continuity guy on that movie was.
But I mean, in the editing room, you're just kind of like, he's in a haunted fucking room.
Yeah,
like,
who cares?
Who cares? Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying. I'm just being a little so and so. It didn't ruin the experience as a full for me. It's just it was one of the things I noticed after analyzing it I said, I do the fresh run where I just kind of watch and intake, then I do the analyzing.
You don't need to apologize for nitpicking. There are people that do it way worse than you do.
It's true.
And to the point that it's annoying to me, like I will nitpick your nitpicks just to be a dick. Like, well, if you're gonna nitpick that, you have to nitpick the entire movie.
Nitpick with a picked nit of my own.
Okay.
I counter your nitpick with a dick
anyway,
pick.
we are getting really close to where we should probably end.
True.
So I'm gonna get us back to Kalen. You said you had 3 things. Let's try and keep it a little short.
I don't think you got.
That was a little too
long
long for a
that was too
timer
long. But that was one of the 3. So guess what? Check.
And
2
mate.
of the 3. This is just a weird, I don't know, but like when he has the first, when Mort has the first nightmare, and there's a quick little shot of Shooter, but it looks like he's wearing a mask, almost like a bandit, like bandana mask, or he's wearing like whoever the figure is that's wearing it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it adds to the whole mystery of who actually is Shooter. But my question is, who literally was the one that filmed that? Do you know what I mean? Like, was
Yeah.
it Johnny?
So,
was it
yeah,
John?
yeah, yeah.
Or was it maybe just an extra or something that they got to do it?
There could be several answers to that in terms of technicality. It could be that they added that later and they just couldn't get John Turturro back to film, so they just wrapped somebody's face in something. It could be that they shot it several different ways. They're like, well, we'll film Johnny as shooter, and we'll kind of make them silhouetted so like we won't be able to tell who it is. And
Can't
then
tell who.
when they might even have just done it to show that it was him. But then they realized in edit that they're like, this is it's gonna blow the ending. Like people are gonna all of a sudden now be looking for him as the actual murderer, right? Or it could have been that they just wanted it to be a shadowy figure in the hat, because that hat is quite iconic in terms of like the silhouette that it presents. It's a cool addition to the character. I feel like if that character didn't have that weird hat, like that's sort of like, I don't even know what kind of hat that is, but
I call it a pilgrim hat, but I don't know what else you would call it.
It's like
it doesn't have a buckle on it.
It's like the
Don't
Undertaker.
the pilgrims have buckles on their hats?
It reminds me of the professional wrestler, The Undertaker. Shout out to the show that I'm going to be launching.
Oh, maybe it is an Undertaker.
Hey, have you wrestled with this one?
Hat. Maybe that's what it is.
It's going to be a show where I watch wrestling matches.
It's not this hat, because this one has a bit of a crease in it.
Woo.
Here's a continuity for you. At one point, he throws the hat on the table, and it has a big dent in the top of it, and then the next shot it doesn't.
Ooh,
did you catch that one?
I like.
Yeah. I was more concerned for the hat. I was like, they dented the hat.
Last one.
Okay, yeah.
We got through those ones quick. Here comes the third one.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
This one, this is just a little thing that I liked. So, when I first watched it, at the end, when the sheriff shows up, like, you know, he's looking around, hey, I'm up here, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then he comes up to talk to us like, hey, we know what you did. We can't prove it, but fucking, you're making everyone uncomfortable. Stop coming into town, blah, blah, blah. So, on the first watch, I'm like, how the fuck did he get all of those, the etchings, all the carvings or whatever? Like, how did he, because, like, you don't, like, on the first watch, I didn't see it any, like, because, you know, shooter, it said shooter everywhere, right?
Yes.
On the second watch, or it might have been the third watch that I noticed, I think it was the second watch, it looked like some of them, so there was definitely one shot where I could tell, you know, that the markers you can buy, maybe you guys don't, but apparently there's markers.
Your brain is like fracturing.
Yeah. So apparently there's markers that you can buy for like touching up wood, like when you get like little nicks or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there was one sheet, like on the first watch, I saw was just clean wood. On the second watch, I was like, ooh, I can see where they like touched up where the original carvings were.
Okay.
It's not. It was just a statement. The third thing was just a statement.
They probably filmed the movie, like movies are filmed out of order, and then they probably do reshoots, but needed.
No. I mean, order or not, they were proper to the continuity of what was happening.
So it was covered up. You could see evidence that the carvings were there, is what you're saying.
Right, exactly. So on the first watch, like I was like, where did they go? Like maybe they were in his head. On the second watch, though, I was like, I could see the ghost of them. I could see them being cleaned up. Like I could see that he tried to cover over it.
Cool. I didn't notice that. I didn't even look out for it.
So I nitpicked at things, but I also give praise to the attention to detail as well.
Right. Good eye. I wasn't even looking out for that. I probably should have, considering it was my third watch of the movie, but I was more.
Well, good thing there's three of us.
I was more hypnotized by his weird, tiny little glasses that he has.
It's true. I can't believe between the two of you, you've watched this movie like 7 times, and I was like, maybe the housekeeper's not real, and you're both like, what?
Hold on a minute, you talking crazy? Well, I think that we can move into final thoughts, unless there's anything. Unless you guys want to pick what Muppet Johnny Depp is.
Are we gonna Muppetize this?
No. We're never gonna. We'll do that next month.
Did you just misdirect me?
Yes.
Did my voice just crack?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, obviously he's like the female guitarist or whatever from the band. That's who Johnny Depp is.
Now.
I like that.
Now he is. Yes. Okay. So
he was very handsome in 2004, though. I gotta say, I was like, wow, like, Johnny Depp's been in the news a lot lately, so you see his kind of like you know, he's 50 now, kind of thing. He still looks great. Don't get me wrong, right? But
he's got
like
the same hair that he has in this movie.
it's true. Well, like it's like black roots with like looks like he dyed it 6 months ago.
What other movie? Actually, that was a question I had. What movie did he do before this that he dyed his hair? Because I'm assuming because it's grown out, unless he actually dyed it for this and then let it grow out.
I think this
I
character
was assuming that he did something where he dyed it and then just let it grow out and do this movie.
It's to show the passage of time that he's dyed his hair and not touched it up because he's been depressed for 6 months. That's why he has.
It's it's that, but also like it was the style at the time to like bleach your hair, and it was the style at the time. In 2004, everybody stopped bleaching their hair.
Highlights.
Frosted tips. In 2004, people had stopped. So this is probably a year grown out now at this point. So like, yeah, in 2002, he probably had like a, you know, that surfer look that everybody had, dark features, blonde hair. That's everybody loved that. I had that at one point.
I don't think I can pull it off.
I feel
Imagine
like it's a very
face with blonde hair.
I feel like it's a very high-profile actor with a very large budget for a movie. I'm sure that the choice to have his roots grown out that far was meant to support the story.
It was probably dyed that. It was probably like dyed that way, or literally a wig.
Out of curiosity, what movie was before this movie?
Oh, fuck.
Pirates 2, maybe? I don't know. Like
Pirates.
He had those bleached dreads. I'm pretty sure I remember bleached dreads from Pirates.
He's wearing a wig in Pirates. It's not his real hair.
Let me see. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna very quickly go through past all of this nonsense at the top of Google and go to his IMDb. I don't know what any of that is.
The third Pirates of the Caribbean movie was before this.
I thought this was the first or second.
Well, the first one came out. The first one came out in 2003. So maybe.
Oh, so it would have.
So this is right after. This is right after Pirates.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move
Pirates of the Caribbean, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and then The Secret Window. So Once Upon a Time in Mexico came out like right before this, but
good movie, great movie.
But did he have blonde hair in it? No. He had
a wig.
Oh, what about Blow? I think he had blonde hair in Blow. When did Blow come out?
I thought Blow was in the
2000.
Yeah, Blow's like a 90s movie at this point.
Okay. My bad.
This is a lot of research.
2001.
Why his hair looks like it does in this movie.
I think dude. I think
that's
it literally.
What the viewers want.
Yeah. It's true. They do. We're telling you what you want, viewers.
Hold on, we need to hack the system.
Yeah, hack the mainframe. Dexter is talking. The Jack the Ripper movie. I forget what it's called. Some old English movie. That's
called From Hell.
From Hell. That's right. That's actually right before.
I wanted to do From Hell for Alan Moore month.
Are we still going to do that?
Moore. I don't know. We talked about
spoilers. More and more.
We'll have a group meeting off.
The one thing that I like about this month is that we've chosen an author, and because his works are so varied, we're getting a lot of different stuff, which is kind of fun. It was like when we did Carpenter.
If you go back to January, was it? If you go back to January on Instagram, you can find our John Carpenter movies, and that is
John Carpenter Presents January.
That's sort of where this movie really, the show really kicked it into gear to what it is today. I kind of derailed us with Trey Parker and Matt Stone month, but that was good for what it was to realize that we hate Trey Parker and Matt Stone now.
Yeah, Boss Level sucked, but like it was still fun to do a show on it because it was so bad.
Exactly.
Though I watched it with a bunch of friends and we were all like, "Wah!"
But I didn't like Edge of Tomorrow that much because I had just seen that stupid Future War garbage, so it just kept reminding me of that. So
right. I liked Edge of Tomorrow because it was so contrasted heavily with Boss Level.
This
is great. This movie's great compared to Boss Level. Anyway, let's move into our final thoughts because we're really kind of like stretching time today.
That's true.
Kaylin, why don't you start with your final thoughts on the movie Secret Window starring Johnny Depp and John Turturro?
John Turturro.
I like Turturro.
John, my neighbor Totoro. Yeah.
Is there a Toro? Is that a thing?
Yeah, like a fucking.
I think it's a cat.
Bullfighter.
Is it a cat?
No, it's a bullfighter. It says Toro.
Toro makes lawnmowers.
What about?
Anyway,
never mind. Okay,
I final thoughts. Let's go. Come on.
Get to the point before
Allow
I forget
me
mine.
to sum up my final thoughts for you, Stephen.
Yes.
I didn't know this was a Stephen King movie. Or I mean, book. I mean, Stephen King should just make movies. Like
he has, and it was really bad.
Why
take the
high
voltage?
Because making movies is extremely difficult and time consuming, and he can probably pump out 4 books in the amount of time it would take him to make one movie.
Doesn't even have to like get a
you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Doesn't even have to get principal photography. You can just write a book.
He can do it all by himself. He doesn't need like hundreds of people to help
him. Final thoughts though. So one of the things I liked about this movie the most is how grounded in reality it was with how he was dealing with what he was going through, some of his mannerisms and reactions to things. I mean, don't get me wrong, fantasy movies, fanciful things, like crazy outlandish things, like it's fun to have that, but it's also nice to have something realistically, presented to you as well. And this movie did a good job of doing that, in my opinion. It definitely, made me think of times where I was upset with someone, and like I could definitely kind of associate with some of the stuff that was happening, and or how I was interpreting what was happening. If you like Stephen King, I say give it a watch. Do you guys know what his did he commend this movie, or did he no, fair enough.
This is one I didn't look up.
You know what? Actually, I feel bad that I've never read any of Stephen King's works, and I definitely do like a lot of the movies that are based off of his works. And in general, books are usually better than the movies. So I feel I owe it to myself as well as to Mr. King. Is that a real name or is that a pseudonym?
I mean, it sounds like a pseudonym. Yeah. His name's
really?
probably like name's probably like Mortimer Black.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think I owe it to myself and to him though to read his works. I feel like this was probably a good representation of his novella. I enjoyed it for the ride it was, and I give it.
Dex is gonna get to see our fucking nonsensical rating system.
Who, Dex? Is Dex still here?
Yeah, he's been hanging.
He's watching, man.
What up, Dex? Yo, join us every
week. Do your rating, Come on, man. Keep your brain together.
Fucking hell, buddy.
So I give this movie a delicious corn on the cob, held from both ends with 2 corn pinchers. Instead of cutting some butter and then taking your butter knife and trying to put it on the thing like that, you have a big old brick of butter, and you just move the cob on the butter, and a little salt and pepper. No braces though, no braces. I give this movie a corn on the cob, massaged in butter with salt and pepper, delicious.
Okay. That was good. So, Jason, your final thoughts, please.
Oh, Dex is going to be very disappointed when he hears my rating system. Dex, follow me at Spider Hero 9000 on Instagram.
And catch all our old videos.
A lot of our very old videos are on there, but I do movie reviews. Like any movie I watch, I put up a little thing. And if you go back to last year and the year before, they're exceptionally long. And they're reviews, not... I give this movie a giant pinnacle of rage out of a smaller pinnacle of fire.
That's what I was going to rate it.
Sorry. So,
Jesus Christ.
My issues with this movie before we talked about it were that a whole bunch of things happen, and then there's a twist, and then it's awesome in the third act. But the thing is talking about it, what it ended up doing was make me appreciate this movie a lot more than I think that I did walking out of the film. Also, it's a film. There's no explosion. There's no car crash. What I will say, or car chase. There's no explosion. There's no car chase. That's my criteria for a film versus a movie.
Alive.
That's true.
The house burning is close,
He
but
throws
we
a
don't see it
Molotov
on-
cocktail,
Right.
and then you see it explode. So there is an explosion.
Okay. Anyway, I was gonna give this movie a 2.5 out of 5 originally, but
Wow. That's really low.
talking about this is one of those times where talking about the movie has increased my pleasure from it, and you guys kind of made a lot of points that made me go back and sort of realize it's better than I kind of gave it credit for, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the movie.
That's fair. You don't have to like every movie.
Exactly, but
what you're saying is this episode just did what we want to do.
Yes, but the 2.5 is way too low because Johnny Depp's performance in this alone is fantastic, especially when you think about that final act. But that being said, I'm only going to give it a 3.2. 3.2 out of 5. And as far as my final thoughts go, I covered everything I wanted to talk about. So like, I can't really put into summation like how I feel without going back and listening to the different things I brought up throughout this episode. If anything, like, I still kind of stand by on your first viewing of this movie. It is just a series of things happening that sort of don't come together until the final realization of the greater whole. And I really wanted John Turturro to be another devil. I love it when Stephen King uses devils in his writing that are turned into films, and I really wanted him to be a paranormal devil who is going to torture. They didn't bring up Derry. They didn't bring up Castle Rock. It was like
in the book they do. The
Okay.
director
Yeah, I was
changed
going to
it.
say, I think that was
Yeah.
the director's.
The director also wrote the screenplay, so he's like a double threat.
David Koepp.
I believe so.
Yeah. I don't think it's pronounced. I don't think you elongate
Koepp?
the O though.
Koepp. Anyway, that's my. I'll give it a 3.2 out of 5. I'm not gonna go nuts and fucking be like it was a 4.5 because I still didn't enjoy most of the movie, but I did enjoy the all like I love a slow burn like Lost with a bunch of reveals that Lost didn't really have, but I love those mystery kind of things. Lost is a really
Right.
bad example. Shows like that though, and this movie kind of had that like mystery element, that suspense, that thriller element. But it's the payoff is the best part.
Okay. Yeah. No. I think I don't disagree with your rating. I think that, but I do think it is if you're going to go with your rating system, a 50% is not a passing grade, and I think that this movie passes.
Yes.
I don't think it fails. I think it does everything that it set out to do.
Yeah. That's why I
and-
felt like 2.5 is too low.
64.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that it would have a passing grade in my opinion, but I can completely understand why you and like-minded individuals might not enjoy the movie as much as Kaylin and myself did. But I also, I do think that it has issues. The pacing is a little bit breakneck at times, and the parts that you're really meant to get steeped in can feel a little tricky and not necessarily satisfying. What I do think the movie succeeded in, though, was...
Sorry, Steve, 1 second. This dude wrote Jurassic Park.
That's probably why he knows Steven Spielberg and was able to get those rock shots.
I didn't realize, I knew that name, but I didn't realize that this dude is like so fucking, like, has wrote so many movies.
Yeah,
He wrote Toy Soldiers and Carlito's Way.
Yo, remember
and Mission
Small
Impossible.
Soldiers?
Anyway, sorry, Steve.
Oh,
and
wait,
Snake
is Toy
Eyes.
Soldiers Small Soldiers?
No,
No.
those are two different movies.
That's true.
One is
No,
about
Toy Soldiers
children
is
in the
different.
army, and one of them is about toys that come to life.
Yeah.
Try and kill
Okay,
you.
my bad. I thought it was Small Soldiers. But he did write Carlito's Way, and he did write The Shadow, and Mission Impossible, and The Lost World, and
A lot
Snake
of
Eyes.
adaptations. A lot of adaptations.
Snake Eyes. Is Snake Eyes an adaptation?
I don't know what that is.
Snake Eyes is that
That's
dumb
the one
movie with Nick
Nick
Cage. Yeah.
Oh,
Where he's like a gambler or some nonsense.
Anyway, let me finish my final thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, he let us final
What
thought.
I do think the movie succeeded in was its depiction of a person at the lowest depths of depression. Though, like traditional Stephen King fashion, that depression leads to a psychotic break, which is unfortunate and not an accurate depiction of reality. But just the way that Johnny Depp is not taking care of himself, the constant sort of like lethargic nature of his character, and continuously wanting to take naps and sleep, and you later discover that he's been abusing alcohol and other vices, cigarettes. The part where he's looking for that last smoke is, I think, a person that who's ever been addicted to cigarettes in their life know the feeling of, where it's like, well, if you have a pack of cigarettes and you're planning on quitting, why are you saving one? And it's like he's saving it because he doesn't actually want to quit in the first place, right? Or he knows that he's going to need to break at some point. I do like the tension that is built throughout the movie, and the ticking clock, not only in the office with the discussion with the chess clock, but the ticking clock element that goes throughout the entire movie of John Turturro sort of looming in the shadows and constantly impacting his life, while the timer counts down to when he's going to arrive. And as he says, if we start this fight, it's going to end with one of us being dead or whatever. It's all very satisfying. Where the movie kind of falls short for me is the relationship between Johnny Depp and his wife. It's probably realistic to some people, but you only really get one side of it, and you don't spend enough time with her to kind of understand the relationship as a whole. You just see the impact of the relationship on Johnny Depp and how he's slowly kind of devolving into, a horrible depressive state. I don't have a ton more to say. Like, I don't get overjoyed with it when I watch this movie, but like I said earlier, there were certain images and tonal moments and dialogue that stuck with me for many, many years, which is why I wanted to revisit for this. Kaylin, I'm glad you liked it. I enjoyed it as well. Jason, sorry you didn't like it as much, but like we said before, if you watch it again, you might actually get more out of it than you did the first time.
There's been some bangers this month too.
Yeah,
I put this up against 1408, and I put this up against Dreamcatcher and Needful Things, right? So that's all
true. Yeah. If you're viewing it that way, it can make it even more difficult. But
it just didn't have basically a little bit more to mine is it didn't have that same pizzazz that those weirdo movies have. This felt very like a movie out of its time. It felt like a movie from 2004 that you see a trailer for and you're like, I get it. But there's a lot in this movie. It has a major twist that is a fucking great, cool twist. So.
Yeah. Those are also like, very high concept thrillers or horrors or whatever. They're Stephen King works where it's like the premise of the movie is the story, right? That is the movie. The premise is that you're inside of a room that's torturing you. The premise is that you are fighting aliens. Like that, the premise for those movies are the movies, whereas this is more of like a character study, right? It's like you're learning about him and the effects of depression on him and how it changes throughout the movie and how he changes throughout the movie. But it just has like a fun manic energy to it, I guess. And when it comes down to it, I think that I would probably give this movie a satisfying jaw.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, a nice
that's
satisfying
a good one.
jaw
Damn
crack.
It, that's a good one. Why did I think of that?
Listen, you went with the corn. I was gonna do it. I was gonna say a nice satisfying ear of corn from a steaming bowl, but you already did the corn, so I had
damn
to go
it, you
with the
even
satisfying
said my
jaw.
version better. Shit.
Anyway, that's my review, and I thank you both for joining me on this month so far. It's been pretty fun, and I look forward heavily to next week's movie because it is, again, one of my favorites. I don't want to hype it up too much because it could be like next week you guys are both like, that movie sucks.
I want to shout out what Dex Jordan said here too, because he said he made a joke earlier about how it came out in 1989 or whatever, and he said because I haven't seen it in 39 years, I give Secret Window one onion ring found in my French fries. So
ooh,
that's
damn.
a good bonus.
Who is this Dex? Is this a real person? Are you one of you guys Dex?
No, look at my hands.
Did Dex just make a dope ass fucking rating?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pretty good rating.
And
Dex,
this person
who are
honestly,
you? I love you.
is
Finding
our
an
fan.
onion ring inside of some French fries is a pretty great feeling. Or a bad feeling if you're like allergic to onions or something.
I mean, depends on whose onion ring is it. Yo, Dex, can you hear me right now? Whose onion ring?
Either way is good. Like, if you find a fry in your onion rings, I'm still stoked. Because, like, I always want fries, but I chose onion rings, you know? Right. Anyway, let's take it home. I want to go look at images
you want to leave us for some reason.
No. It's Thursday night, Kaylin. I got shit to do in the morning.
Not me. I have work off tomorrow. I'm going to go play video games. Maybe I'll stream it.
Cool.
Anyway, for Kaylin and for Jason, I am Steven.
And for Kaylin and Steven, I've been your Jason.
Can I just say that...
Nope.
No, I need to.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Steven started with, for Kaylin and Jason, I'm Steven. So that, since my name came up first, I should say, for Jason and Steven, I'm Kaylin.
Sounds like a conversation
and
we
then
can have
Jason
off mic.
should say... I'm just saying, for equilibrium or like whatever, fairness or something, I don't want my name saying first all the time, or not all the time, but like, anyway, what I'm trying to say is, can we?
Now I know why you freaked out so hard about that cup being too close to the edge in the movie.
Sorry. For
problems.
Jason and Jason,
OCD
I'm
ADD
Jason.
ADD
Hey, thanks for watching.
Just wait, are we? Oh, just wait. Okay, I didn't do my thing. And for
well, you kind of ruined the flow of it with that. So.
Well,
let's do it again.
Only ruined it
Hold on,
to
quiet.
improve it later.
I know, but now the flow is gone.
We've never stopped. We've done 49 of these things, and we've never once.
And guess what? I wanted to say it every time.
Okay.
Why didn't you mention it before?
We created a monster.
Does that not make sense to you guys? If
it makes perfect
says,
sense. Yes, if I say your name, yes.
So the
it makes
first
sense.
person he says for the next person and him, I'm me, and then so that the next person is just like symmetry. Do you guys like symmetry? Am I pissing you guys off?
Yes.
Jason, you look pissed.
We want to end the episode, and you are not allowing us to do it.
All right, my apologies. For Jason and Steven, I'm Kellen.
For Jason, for Kaylin, I am Steven.
For Kaylin, for Steven, I'm Jason.
There we go. And let me ask you a question.
You sound so sad. I'm sorry. I didn't want to do that.
And hey.
Did you see this one?
Well, I do have to ask. Hey, did you see this one?
Hey, did you see this one?
Hey now.
Okay, bye. Thank you for coming.
Did you see this one, Pilgrim? I think we're still live.
We are
You're
still
laughing,
live.
but we're still live.
I put the thanks for watching up, and they can definitely still hear us.
Questions like that can wait until after stream.
They can still hear us.
Oh. Stop.
Hey, did you see this
streaming.
one? We love you. Come back next week.
I got the post roll up right now with the music.
Oh.
It's amazing.
So it's just the banter afterwards, like you guys watch the game?
Yeah.
Not the actual
Dexter
hockey baseball game, but like the movie, the game.
He can hear all about it.
I hear it all.
I think this is a funny segment because I'm only gonna run it for like a minute.
A minute.
I thought tonight was great. I thought tonight was like at the amongst the pinnacle of our best.
From a production value standpoint too, I think this might be our best episode ever. Because the thing that I put together with a post roll and a countdown and
what about all the technical difficulties? You guys forgot about those.
Yeah,
we're getting better.